Pergamon, PRMN, or PRMN, or Pergamum, PRMM, was an ancient Greek city in Aeolis, currently located 26 kilometers from the Aegean Sea on a promontory on the north side of the river Caicus. Today, the main sites of ancient Pergamon are to the north and west of the modern city of Bergama in Turkey. Some ancient authors regarded it as a colony of the Arcadians, but the various origin stories all belong to legend. The Greek historians reconstructed a complete history for it due to confusion with the distant Euthrania. It became the capital of the kingdom of Pergamon during the Hellenistic period, under the Attalid dynasty, 281–133 BC. Pergamon is cited in the Book of Revelation as one of the 7 churches of Asia. History. Antiquities. Xenophon provides the earliest surviving documentary mention of Pergamon. Captured by Xenophon in 399 BC and immediately recaptured by the Persians, it was severely punished in 362 BC after a revolt. It did not become important until Lysimachus, king of Thrace, took possession, 301 BC, but soon after his lieutenant Philetarus enlarged the town. The kingdom of Thrace collapsed and it became the capital of the new kingdom of Pergamon, which Philetarus founded in 281 BC, beginning the Attalid dynasty. In 261 BC he bequeathed his possessions to his nephew Eumenes I, who increased him greatly, leaving as heir his cousin Attalus I. The Attalids became some of the most loyal supporters of Rome in the Hellenistic world. Under Attalus I, they allied with Rome against Philip V of Macedon, during the First and Second Macedonian Wars, and again under Eumenes II, against Perseus of Macedon, during the Third Macedonian War. For their support against the Seleucids, the Attalids were rewarded with all the former Seleucid domains in Asia Minor. As a consequence of its rise to power, the city expanded greatly. Until 188 BC, it had not grown significantly since its founding by Philetarus, and covered circa 21 hectares. After this year, a massive new city wall was constructed, 4 kilometers long and enclosing an area of approximately 90 hectares. The Attalids ruled with intelligence and generosity. Many documents survive showing how the Attalids supported the growth of towns by sending in skilled artisans and by remitting taxes. They allowed the Greek cities in the domains to maintain nominal independence. They sent gifts to Greek cultural sites like Delphi, Delos, and Athens. They defeated the invading Celts. They remodeled the Acropolis of Pergamon after the Acropolis in Athens. When Attalus III died without an heir in 133 BC, he bequeathed the whole of Pergamon to Rome in order to prevent a civil war. Rome and not everyone in Pergamon accepted Rome's rule. Aristarchus, who claimed to be Attalus' brother as well as the son of Eumenes II, an earlier king, led a revolt among the lower classes with the help of Blossius. The revolt was put down in 129 BC, and Pergamon was divided among Rome, Pontus, and Cappadocia. Pergamon was briefly the capital of the Roman province of Asia, before the capital was transferred to Ephesus. After a slow decline, the city was favored by several imperial initiatives under Hadrian. It was granted the title of metropolis, and as a result of this an ambitious building program was carried out. Massive temples, a stadium, a theatre, a huge forum and an amphitheatre were constructed. In addition, at the city limits the shrine to Asclepius was expanded into a lavish spa. This sanctuary grew in fame and was considered one of the most famous therapeutic and healing centers of the Roman world. Galen, after Hippocrates, the most famous physician of antiquity, was born at Pergamon and received his early training at the Asclepieion. Pergamon reached the height of its greatness under Roman imperial rule and was home to about 200,000 inhabitants. The city was an early seat of Christianity and was granted a bishopric by the 2nd century. The city suffered badly during the 3rd century and was badly damaged by an earthquake in 262 and was sacked by the Goths shortly after. The Library of Pergamon was renowned, and second only to the Library of Alexandria, although not approaching Alexandria in scholarship. Middle Ages Anatolia was invaded by the Persian Sassanid Empire in c. 620 and after the Persians were driven out by Byzantine forces. Pergamon was rebuilt on a much smaller scale by Emperor Constans II. Not long after, Pergamon was sacked by the armies of Maslama ibn Abd al-Malik on their way to the siege of Constantinople in 717. With the defeat of the Byzantine army at the Battle of Manzikert in 1071, the Seljuk Turks were effectively in control of all of Anatolia, but they withdrew to central and eastern Anatolia to consolidate their gains, as the Sultanate of Rum and Pergamon returned to Byzantine control. The decline of the Sultanate of Rum in the late 12th century saw the rise of the Anatolian Beyliks, and with the continuing weakness in the Byzantine Empire, and the expansion of the Beyliks, Pergamon was absorbed into the Beylik of Karasids, Karasi by 1336. Competition among the Beyliks resulted in the takeover of the Beylik of Karasids, Karasi by the Ottoman Emirate, the forerunner of the Ottoman Empire. In 1357, the Ottoman Sultan Murad III had 2 large alabaster urns transported from the ruins of Pergamon and placed on 2 sides of the nave in the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. Main sites: Upper Acropolis. The Great Altar of Pergamon is in the Pergamon Museum, Berlin. The base of this altar remains on the upper part of the Acropolis. A smaller frieze on a wall inside the altar of Pergamon depicted the life of Telephus, son of Heracles and legendary founder of Pergamon. Other notable structures still in existence on the upper part of the Acropolis include the Hellenistic Theatre with a seating capacity of 10,000. This had the steepest seating of any known theatre in the ancient world. The Sanctuary of Trajan, the Sanctuary of Athena, the Library of Pergamum, the Royal Palaces, the Heroon, a shrine where the kings of Pergamon, particularly Attalus I and Eumenes II, were worshipped, the Temple of Dionysus, the Upper Agora, the Roman Baths Complex, Diodorus Bosporos Heroon, arsenals. Pergamon's library on the Acropolis was the second best in the ancient Greek civilization. Pergamon was also a flourishing center for the production of parchment, which had been used in Asia Minor long before the rise of the city. The story about the Pergamena invention of parchment because of Alexandria's papyrus monopoly is a mere legend. The library at Pergamon was believed to contain 200,000 volumes, which Mark Antony later gave to Cleopatra as a wedding present. The site is today easily accessible by the Bugamar Acropolis gondola from the base station in northeastern Bugamar. Lower Acropolis. The lower part of the Acropolis has the following structures: the Upper Gymnasium, the Middle Gymnasium, the Lower Gymnasium, the Temple of Demeter, the Sanctuary of Hera, the House of Attalus, the Lower Agoron, the Gate of Eumenes. At foot of Acropolis, Sanctuary of Asclepius. 3 kilometers south of the Acropolis down in the valley, there was the Sanctuary of Asclepius, the god of healing. The Asclepium was approached along an 820-meter colonnaded sacred way. In this place people with health problems could bathe in the water of the sacred spring, and in the patient's dreams Asclepius would appear in a vision to tell them how to cure their illness. Archaeology has found lots of gifts and dedications that people would make afterwards, such as small terracotta body parts, no doubt representing what had been healed. Galen, the most famous doctor in the ancient Roman Empire and personal physician of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, worked in the Asclepium for many years. Notable extant structures in the Asclepium include the Roman Theatre, the North Stoa, the South Stoa, the Temple of Asclepius, a circular treatment center, a healing spring, an underground passageway, a library, the Via Tectoran, Acropolion, Serapis Temple. Pergamon's other notable structure is the Great Temple of the Egyptian gods Isis or Serapis, known today as the Red Basilica. About 1 kilometer south of the Acropolis, it consists of a main building and 2 round towers within an enormous temenos or sacred area. The temple towers flanking the main building had courtyards with pools used for ablutions at each end, flanked by stoas on 3 sides. At this temple in the year 92, Saint Antipas, the first bishop of Pergamum ordained by John the Apostle, was a victim of an early clash between Serapis worshippers and Christians. An angry mob is said to have burned Saint Antipas alive inside a brazen bull incense burner, which represented the bull god Apis. In the 1st century AD, the Christian church at Pergamon inside the main building of the Red Basilica was one of the 7 churches to which the Book of Revelation was addressed. The forecourt is still supported by the 193 meters wide Pergamon Bridge, the largest bridge substruction of antiquity. Inscriptions. Greek inscriptions discovered at Pergamon include the rules of the town clerks, the so-called Astynimoir inscription, which has added to understanding of Greek municipal laws and regulations, including how roads were kept in repair, regulations regarding the public and private water supply and lavatories. Notable people: Epigonus, Greek sculptor; Sosis of Pergamon, Greek mosaic artist; Elias Nikin, Greek architect and builder; Galen, Greek physician;